Hi, and welcome to your Monday Real Estate Tip. My name is Sean Bobbitt with Coldwell Banker Heritage Realtors. Today we're going to be covering the home buying process. This is specifically for first-time home buyers. However, I have a lot of my personal clients that come back and it's their third or fourth home and they don't really know what all goes into it. So I thought it would be important to share with you guys today. We'll go ahead and get started. The first thing you do, most people, 95% of people start online when they decide to look for a home. The first step you should do after that is pick a realtor. Interview 2 or 3, pick somebody that you like and trust and are going to work well with. And then once you pick that realtor, you're going to dive right into the home search process. So that realtor is going to be able to give you direct access to the MLS so that you can look through what homes are currently on the market. You're not relying on outdated public information on other sites. You're getting to see things first as soon as they come up. And I know with my personal clients, they receive emails every time something that matches their search criteria comes up on the market. So the home search is obviously the big part of it. That's what everybody thinks about, looking at a bunch of homes and picking out the right one. Once you've found the right one, the next step is the contract. So you're actually going to make an offer on a contract that says we're going to pay you this amount of money and here are all the terms. There's a bunch, it's an 8-page contract that you write to write a real estate contract. So there are a bunch of different things that go into it and it all has to be customized and fit your personal situation. Once you have that contract agreed upon, the first expense out of your pocket is going to be earnest money. Now, rule of thumb, that's typically about 1% of the purchase price. So a $100,000 house, $1,000 earnest money. Now that is a rule of thumb, so it's not a guaranteed it has to be 1%. But just so for you guys thinking in the future, planning ahead, that's the first money that comes out of your pocket. However, it does get credited back to you at closing. So if you needed $5,000 to close and you've already put $1,000 down, you'll only need $4,000 at that closing table. Once you've deposited the earnest money, you'll have a period of time for inspections. That's your first biggest hurdle. You will pay somebody usually between $300 and $600 to go through the home, and if it's a good inspector, they go through the home with a fine-tooth comb. They spend 2-3 hours in the home. They're checking all the electric, all the plumbing, the roof, the windows, everything that keeps you up at night as big expenses whenever you're buying a home, things that you want to make sure is certain that are taken care of. So once you get that home inspection report, you have the opportunity to ask the sellers to correct anything that you have found an issue with on the inspection report. There will be a negotiation period with that, as far as you've asked for 10 things to be fixed, they're willing to do 5, and you come to an agreement somewhere in the middle. Once you're through that and you've come to an agreement and the sellers have already said, yes, I'm going to fix everything that you've asked me to, the next big hurdle is the appraisal. Now, an appraiser essentially tells you that what you're paying for the house is worth it. So that house is worth what you're paying for it. Hopefully, before you ever wrote the offer or got this far under contract, you and your realtor have sat down and looked at the comps, looked at what the neighborhood's doing, and how this particular property compares to the rest of the homes in the neighborhood. So usually, if you've done your homework, the appraisal's not too big of an issue. However, with the fast-paced market and appraisals generally relying on dated information, then there are sometimes issues. So it's just something to be aware of, but definitely something that you can get ahead of with proper planning and enough investigation. Once you're through appraisals, you're pretty much in the clear. You're just wait until closing. You will have a final walkthrough. So right before closing, you get to walk through, make sure they didn't punch any holes in the wall or do anything crazy while they were moving out, things like that, as well as make sure that all the repairs you negotiated in that post-inspection are completed, so that when you actually close the house and it becomes yours, everything is right, everything's set, you guys can just go ahead and move on in. Closing usually takes between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on what type of loan and are the sellers there and that kind of, a bunch of extenuating circumstances. Once you've closed, the one thing I do want to point out is you don't always get the keys right at closing. So sometimes there is a possession period. You may close on a Monday and not get the keys until a Friday. To allow the seller's time to move out. So it's just something to include into your planning process. So that's a general overview of the home buying process. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, an experienced home buyer, hopefully you've learned something from it. If you have, feel free to like, comment, and share. Thank you guys for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week.